Growing up as children, we're all expected to trust certain people. This includes police officers, parents, doctors, family friends. But when is this trust earned, and when can this trust be lost? Can it be lost if a doctor is being paid enough money to change their opinion of something? This may be the case when it comes to the vaccine Gardasil. You may have heard of Gardasil. It just came out in 2006. It's a fairly new vaccine and considered revolutionary in its kind. It's the only licensed vaccine in America to prevent HPV, which is the human papillomavirus. It's given in 3 shots, and each shot is about $160 each. Let's review HPV a little bit. There are approximately 100 types of HPV. 40 affect only the genital areas. This is obviously a sexually transmitted disease. Gardasil protects 4 of these 100 types. It protects 6, 11, 16, and 18. Those are the name of the types that Gardasil prevents. 16 and 18 are 2 of the most common high-risk types. Out of the 100 types of HPV, Gardasil protects 4. According to Timothy Collins, quote, HPV infection is the most common sexually transmitted disease in the United States, infecting about 6.2 million people each year. However, getting it does not mean you will keep it. 90% of all HPV infections are cleared spontaneously within 2 years of the infection and never manifest themselves clinically. 70% are cleared within the first year. Obviously, HPV is not considered life-threatening all the time. There are a few strands that can lead to cervical cancer if there isn't proper treatment, if you don't keep up with your pap smears, if they build up without you knowing. There's a lot of things that can lead HPV to turn into cervical cancer, but it's not nearly as common as the virus itself. Gardasil does not protect against cervical cancer. That tends to be what it's known for, thanks to its ads and its self being coined as the anti-cancer vaccination. But the reality is it only protects against those 4 strands of HPV. It has not been proven to actually treat or prevent cervical cancer. Also, this vaccine does not treat HPV. If you have it before you get the vaccine, it does not clear it up and it will not protect you from it, which is why the vaccine is suggested to be taken at such a young age before the girl or boy is sexually active and has the chance of getting the disease. Timothy Collins again says, as of September 1st, 2009, over 26 million doses of Gardasil have been distributed in the United States, and at least 25% of the girls ages 13 to 17 had received at least 1 dose. Incidentally, Merck, the creator of Gardasil, has a worldwide sale increase that exceeded $1.4 billion. The reality is, this is an overpriced vaccine for something that doesn't treat a virus, but is being considered and advertised as an anti-cancer virus, which makes it an almost $400 vaccine. Don't you think that might affect the reason so many doctors worldwide, especially in America, are pushing for this to be a mandatory vaccine for young girls? In 2008, shortly after Gardasil was released, the governor of Texas, Rick Perry, ordered the vaccine to become mandatory for all 6th grade girls in the state This didn't last long, mainly due to a lot of fighting back from angered parents. But in that time, there was a lot of digging up, and it turns out that Merck, again the creator of Gardasil, had given $27,000 to Rick Perry in his campaign. Do you think that's a coincidence, or maybe are the right people being paid to make this vaccine become mandatory? Although a lot of good can come from the Gardasil vaccine, including preventing things like genital warts and the HPV virus itself, it can also lead to a lot of severe health risks, which do include seizures, disabilities, and even death. Since from 2006 to 2008, just 2 years, there were a number of reported deaths, and up until this point, there have been at least 30 proven deaths that have happened directly after a patient was given Gardasil. That's only at least half of the reported amount that can't be proven yet because there aren't proper identification with the story. There's also been over 200 events that have been reported that this vaccine has led to disabilities. There have been over 100 reported events of life-threatening symptoms. There have been a lot of fainting and seizure symptoms reported. We're talking 300-400 each. There have been over 3,000 reports that after getting these shots, someone would have to be rushed to the ER. Obviously, there are a lot of severe health risks with the Gardasil vaccine. It should be obvious that although Gardasil is not necessarily a bad vaccine, it should not be offered in doctors' offices right now. It needs more testing, it needs more development, it needs more time altogether. It's too new, and it was fast-tracked into the drug market by Merck. One main concern for Gardasil is that it can promote sexual activity in young children, but this really should not be the main concern from anybody. The real concern should be the safety of this vaccine. The point is that it has led to death, it has led to seizures, it has led to disabilities, and it has led to a number of other problems, and people have been paid off to support this drug. Personally, when I went to the doctor, they said nothing about the fact that HPV has other cures. They said nothing about the fact that Gardasil does not protect against cervical cancer. They said nothing about the fact that the health risks could potentially lead to things such as seizures or deaths. And these are the things that are being left out when a doctor sits down parents and a daughter or a son and urges them to get this Gardasil vaccine. There's nothing wrong with another vaccine being offered at your children's next checkup. There is something wrong with a vaccine being offered that hasn't been tested enough, that isn't safe. I don't think that this vaccine should be mandatory. I think it needs more time.